Okay, this is going to be a little tutorial on how we're going to use Trello to sort and organize all of our suggestions for the syllabus. So I've got a little explainer on this list. The gray box that these white boxes are inside is the list. There's a couple lists that I've added, one explaining how this whole thing's going to work, one with some tips, and then we'll get into the syllabus suggestions and learn how to add new lists on. So here's kind of the rules. So we'll say it's a 2-year course with 2 semesters, and then the themes that we do are going to be based on how they've been sorted. So we're going to say we're going to have 4 themes, and so it'll be 1 for each semester. So sometimes if you do this kind of a facilitation, you can decide how many groupings you want to do just based on just how they relate, and like just with the guideline of not wanting them to be too wide or too deep. But in this case, we're going to say, okay, we've got this amount of time. What's the logical segments we're going to break it into? So we'll start the process by making additions to the syllabus. So I've made that card. So here's a new card, and if you watch, I can move the card and put it anywhere in any list. We don't want it there. We want it in our syllabus suggestions list. So we'll start adding those. Everyone can add it, and then we'd say we put a time box on it. That would be 2 days, and at the end of the 2 days, we would then start the sorting. And so I'll just run over the rest of these steps, and then I'll start demonstrating them. So we'll have a 2-day sorting, 2-day idea generation step, a 2-day sorting step. After we do that, we'll have a quick meeting to just check in face to face, and then we'll do the final sorting. And we'll come back to these as we work on them. Okay, so here we're going to add some lists. So this is what the sorting is going to look like when this facilitation is done in real life. So each person had used a color-coded sticky with their idea on it, and then they did this sorting. So ultimately there will only be 4 lists, and we'll put a title on each one. But for now, we're going to group them in ways that make sense, and we might have more than 4 categories or themes that we're going to want to combine or like synthesize the 2 into a single category if there seems to be naturally interlocking ones. So I'll start here with some of the stuff. So I've got, looking here, and I see something right away, which is ducks. Make way for ducklings. The ugly duckling. And then what I would say is during this categorizing phase, it's still okay to add some cards if you're reminded of something. And, in this case, part of the instructions, I suppose, is to add on the storybooks that were important to you when you were young. If I hadn't made that clear. Anyways, so this makes me think of another book that I used to like about ducks that was called Ping. So now we have like 3 based on ducks. So now let's see, what else could I come up with? I got Paddington, corduroy. Okay, again, I've made this category here something about bears. They're both about bears, but it's not very deep. So I wonder if it's too specialized, but I'll leave it for now because it's a connection that I've made. Now, well, let's see. I'm seeing a theme in here, like Ferdinand is kind of about pacifism. The Little Engine That Could is about perseverance. Let's see. Let's go back to that because I think this one might be, you know, books that are trying to teach a kid a lesson about a value. Okay. Charlotte's Web. I have an idea here where I'm going to put Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web. Yeah, The Red Balloon. The Giving Tree. Let's see, how else? What else? I'm going to do these 3 for now, thinking about this being like a loss and acceptance theme, which that means I'm already at my 4. And let's see, what else do I have? I've got, let's say, adventures. And for now, since I'm doing this all at once, I can pull this down here for the time being. Adventures. This seems like Friends. Are there more about Friends? Maybe Love You Forever. Let's see. Let's finish Adventures. Harry Potter we had twice, so I'll show you what to do in a second when you have something twice. Phantom Tollbooth. Get this other card here. About, let's see. I don't know what else to do with these right here, except for say that they're like kind of really baby stuff. And then oh yeah, sorry. I click add list. This is 6th one, is it? No, 7. I'll cut that out. Okay, so I'm going to move 7 over here. And I'm going to put these as kind of teen ones. Let's see, I'm going to put this one into more of the baby ones because it's mostly just I love you, I love you. Oh, and that reminds me, here's one that I loved. Okay, Frog and Toad. Well, they go on adventures, I guess. I'll put this with adventure. And the little house. Yeah, this is... I'm going to put this with these, and here's why. It has a happy ending. Oops, look what I'm doing. Okay, don't do that. Okay, last, the little house. I think I'm going to move this with this one. Even though it has a happy ending. Okay, so we have them all divided up into some clusters that seem to, you know, where they seem to relate to each other. So we've got some kind of grouping, but obviously we've got too many groups and we're not quite clear on what the grouping is. Like, we could add, say we added this. So, we had three bear books, and then, we might think, okay, we have enough for a duckling one, we have enough for a bear one, but then we think, like, do we really want, like, a whole semester about, like, writing stories about ducks? That doesn't seem quite right. So we might look at our other clusters. These seem like a natural cluster. Let's start with this one because I think that we might want to have a semester about something like adventure. So now we can continue to look at it, and something that like an impression that I have already is that our range is too far. So we have from like baby books to like probably even Harry Potter's is too old. The Outsiders, I would say, is too old. So let's make another group that's not going to be one of our themes. It's going to actually be, let's say, out of range, whatever we want to title it. Oops, out of range. So let's see, Charlotte's Web maybe, but let's keep it for now. Ferdinand's Good. I would say probably Three Little Bears. It's probably too young. Hungry Caterpillar. Out of range. Like I said, Outsiders. Phantom Tollbooth definitely has themes that are more, young adult oriented over like children's. Harry Potter. And we'll just keep these like this. We're not going to have this be final, but maybe I think these three too. Maybe Love You Forever. But everybody poops. We're probably past the age of needing to learn lessons about poop at that point. Goodnight Moon is soothing, but again, it's probably a little too young. Love You Forever. Again, it's a picture book that maybe doesn't have sophisticated enough themes or something. And yeah, let's put this one in there too. I just basically skipped to the end because this is taking too long and I want to get it out. So, we had our instructions here. We have some tips here, which hopefully we can add to as we go along. We've moved all the cards out of the suggestions, and then I made what made sense as like 4 topics that would make sense as 4 semesters of like themes that we could relate to different ways of teaching how to write children's books. So I did one on acceptance and loss, the Giving Tree, and the Red Balloon, and I'm sure we could find others where it's sort of like a difficult topic for children, thinking about something they might experience, like losing a pet or a grandparent or something. And then moral lessons, virtues, and allegories. There's lots of kid stories about that. So, Where the Wild Things Are is kind of about like anger management. Ferdinand's a thing about Pacifism, Little Engine That Could, is about perseverance. You get the ideas. Um, and then I did one that's Bright Futures for Anxious Children's. I don't love that name for it, but I was just going with it. The Ugly Duckling, the duck, uh, isn't isn't looking as handsome as the swan, as the other ducks, but then grows up to be a beautiful swan. Paddington Bear is like about acceptance, like a family accepting the guy, and then Little House is about like basically like a neighborhood that gets fundamentally changed and destroys the little house's life, but then it creates a new life elsewhere. So it ends on like sort of a hopeful note. So these are ones that like help maybe children feeling anxiety look forward to the future, give them some hope. And then I thought like another one is like learning about relationships. So like Frog and Toad is a good one about friends. Corduroy is a good one about again like just developing relationships. And I'm sure we could be able to like fill this in with other ones that we think of now that we have these four categories. But they seem good for 4 semesters to me, showing how we can kind of put these out. Then we can, now that we're a little bit more comfortable, we can archive that list. No, sorry, that's not what we're going to do. We'll save that for the future. And then the final thing that I wanted to say, so we go through this process once we have it all sorted like that. We'll have like a little meeting once we've done it, just to have like the face-to-face. That's all thinking it's good. We do another one-day sort if anybody talked about making any changes. And then this is my idea about coming to consensus like this in a democratic group, which is that at this point when we've got this product and we're on a timeline and that sort of thing, but then say you maybe want to adjust something, like, like let's hold off on that for now and like only leave something out or adjust it if it's like we can't publish it without violating your fundamental moral beliefs or principles. But that whole thing for me is just uh, like a practice that I follow, and like it's any of these is sort of up to like creative problem solving changes that make the whole thing work better. So that's it for now. Get in touch if you have any questions about it, and looking forward to mapping out what we're going to do for our education committee.